my name is Gloria and welcome back to another video. I know it's been a little while. Today I'm going to be doing the end of the year book tag, which is originally created by Ariel Bissett. I'll link her video down below. This is a short and sweet 6-question tag that summarizes my reading plans for the last 3 months of the year, kind of some priorities, and these are just fun little questions. If you want to do it too, I'll link everything down below. So let's get started. Question 1 is, are there any books that you started this year that you need to finish? I usually always have multiple books going at one time, but I try to finish them in a timely manner. I do have 2 books that I've started this year that I really hope to finish. The first one is The Fellowship of the Ring. Last year, my husband and I read and listened to all of the Harry Potter books, and we absolutely loved it. It was such a fun time to listen to those audiobooks all throughout the year. This year, we were thinking that we were gonna do Lord of the Rings trilogy and then The Hobbit, and then we started listening to it. I actually bought this was my first book that I bought on Libro FM with an audio credit, and it's so boring. I mean, I want to finish it even though it's a little bit boring. I still kind of want to push through it. I think I'm about 20% in, but I've been 20% in since like January. So we went for it in January. We're really psyched about it, and then it's just they're still on this road and nothing has happened, but it's just singing and random things. But I hope to finish that book this year. The other one that I'm in the middle of that I really hope to finish is 10 Words to Live by Jen Wilkin. This is a book study that I'm doing in person with some friends of mine. We read a chapter a week and discuss. We were doing really well, but then for some reason this summer we just have not been able to meet together and talk about it. We are meeting this week, so hopefully we'll pick up track. You know, we're a little over halfway. I think we only have like 4 or 5 chapters left, so should be done in the next month or so. Hope to finish this book. It is a great Christian nonfiction book. Question 2 is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Now, I don't necessarily have very obvious books that scream autumn or have necessarily any books that are specifically on my TBR that I'm like, I have to only read this in the fall. But I do have one book that I've been meaning to get to for so long, but it's the book that screams the most autumn to me based on the cover, and that is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Now, I've had whole plans to read more Kristen Hanna, and for some reason I just haven't been able to, but this book is set in Alaska, wintry vibes, family drama, historical, very autumn. Will I pick it up in autumn? I'm not sure, but I know I want to, so I hope to, and I feel like, yeah, this would be a good transition of seasons. I am participating in Chantel and Intentional Life's Hey Readathon, which is autumnal themed, so there are some books, specifically some prompts to read more kind of autumn cozy vibes. I don't necessarily know exactly what those are, but for some reason classics feel cozy. I think because they're like old and vintage and have history and all that kind of stuff. So I have some classics that are on my list, that have been on my list to read for a while. Maybe I'll read them in the fall. I don't know. We'll see. Question 3 is there a new release that you are still waiting for? Now, in general, I don't really have, you know, my eyes out for new releases as much. I'm not like actively doing research. Maybe I will next year. We'll see. Maybe I'll have anticipated reads, but I'm not sure. In general, I read more backlist titles, and I don't really have a problem with that because there's so many books to read. But I have 2 books that I think I will definitely read before the end of the year. The first one is Will by Will Smith. It is his memoir, maybe autobiography, I'm not sure. I love nonfiction, and this comes out in November, which is Nonfiction November. Will Smith is just a really interesting human and an interesting celebrity figure, and I would love to read his book and see what it has to share. I haven't actively looked recently on his social media, but I used to follow him on Instagram and on YouTube. He created really interesting and thought-provoking videos. So I feel like he's like a cool dude who's actually like a good person, you know, behind the scenes. So I would definitely pick up his book, and I think the cover is awesome. And the second new release also comes out in November 23rd, is the 9th book in the Outlander series, and it is called Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone by Diana Gabaldon. Bees is in the title, which that's all I need to know. But I also do love the Outlander series. I'm currently reading it. I've been inspired by Literarily Smitten to try to finish all 8 books that have been released in preparation for reading the 9th book at the end of November. I don't know if I'll be able to read them all, but I'm making my way. I've read the first 3. I'm currently in the middle of 4, so hoping to read 4, 5, 6 October and maybe 7 and 8 in November. This comes out towards the end of November, so we'll see. Question 4 is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? There's a lot more than 3 books, but I'll highlight 3. The first one being Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I bought this really cute, you know, Poppin' and Bloom edition that so many people have and love. I absolutely love the movie. I know the core of what the story is about, but I haven't read this book and I really want to. And I feel like it's also kind of perfect for this time of year. Although I know that people mention that this is a perfect book for Christmas time, this is a perfect book for springtime, this is a perfect book for summer. So I feel like this is a seasonal book no matter what season it is. So I really, really hope to get to it. And the book that I need to read before the end of the year, because I have to, because it's one of the most popular historical fictions that has been released, is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I was supposed to read this in the summer, but I didn't. I don't know why I didn't, just other stuff came up. And I will read this before December 31st. And then I made a whole video about authors that I've read one book from and I love and I want to try more. Check that out above if you haven't already. But I absolutely loved Amy Harmon's book Where the Lost Wander, so I would love to read another one of her books before the end of the year, either From Sand and Ash or What the Wind Knows. Either one of those books I would love to pick up before the end of the year to see how I feel about them. I have pretty high expectations. I think they'll be really great reading experiences. But then I also have a ton of nonfiction books and I'm going to read a lot for Nonfiction November. I already read a lot of nonfiction, but my plan is to read as much as possible in November. And I have a whole list of nonfiction books that I need to get to. Question 5, is there a book that you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? This is an interesting question. And from first thought, I feel like I've already read quite a few 5-star reads that have become new favorite books. So statistically, I'm not really thinking there's going to be too many more that are going to surprise me and shock me and become a new favorite, but I'm open-minded. Like I mentioned, I'm planning to read a lot more nonfiction before the end of the year is up. And in general, I'm going into nonfiction thinking that it's going to be a 5-star read, that I might get something out of it. I have a whole bunch that I know are going to be incredible. But the thing about that is I'm not going to be shocked if they are 5-star or favorite reads, because I'm expecting them to be quite impactful and important. So a new favorite might come out of there. And then, like I mentioned, maybe an Amy Harmon book because I've already loved one of hers. And the other book that if I get to it, As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meisner. I recently read Nature of Fragile Things and really loved it. So I would love to read this one, or maybe another Susan Meisner. This has potential to be a favorite by the end of the year if I get to it. Maybe the Kristen Hanna. I'm not sure. And then, not necessarily shocking, but I feel like it would excite me, is if I did pick up some classics towards the end of the year, like Little Women, or like a Jane Austen, or the Count of Monte Cristo, or maybe even Jane Eyre if I'll ever get to it. I would be pleasantly surprised if one of those becomes a new favorite. I read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier earlier this year and loved it. It's definitely a new favorite. So I would welcome the surprise that a classic could hold up and become a new favorite. And finally, question 6, have you already started making reading plans for next year? Yes and no. Not any concrete written down plans or TBRs or anything like that, but I've been percolating and thinking about reading goals. I plan to make a whole video about my 2022 reading goals that I will have. That's going to be like in January. So once I've had more time to think about it and actually write them down and think about what I want those to be, I'll have a better idea of some of my reading plans. But I plan to not stop reading, that's for sure. And my never-ending, always growing TBR will definitely keep me reading. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, if you want to make this a video, everything's linked down below. I would love to see your video. Let me know what your #1 book is that you want to or need to read before this year is up. I'm curious what that is. Leave a comment down below. And again, thanks so much for watching and for tuning in. I'll see you guys in another video soon. Bye!